Eric, it's so good to see you.
Likewise. Been
It's
a long
been
time.
50 years.
Yeah.
Hard
yeah.
to believe that
Great
could
to
be.
see you too.
So we met. We got to know each other when I was working as a legislative intern for Congresswoman Bella Abzug in 1972, and you were there from 71 to 73.
71 to 73 as her legislative assistant.
Yes.
And I came back later to be counsel to her subcommittee. But in between, I was in a big law firm for 2 years in Manhattan.
Right. Right. So you've had quite a wonderful career, so many achievements.
Oh, well, thank you. I've enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed going back and forth between government and the private sector.
Yes.
And I think I'm not an opponent of the revolving door. I think it's very refreshing for both sides to get the benefit of the experience from the other side.
Right.
There's too much of people people in government who have no understanding of how the private sector works and vice versa. And to be able to cross-pollinate a little, I think, is healthy and constructive.
You've really done a stellar job.
I have. I didn't set out to, but sometimes you just follow your nose, and that's where you end up.
Yeah, and so we actually grew up in the same community, and your youngest sister, was my classmate in high school, all through school, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but when we met each other in Bella's office, it wasn't because I knew Jessica. It was just.
I guess it was just a coincidence. I was trying to remember whether I had anything to do with your ending up there, but I don't think so.
No.
No.
I think I had told you so. I had seen Sunday New York Times, and on the cover of the Week in Review, there was a big picture of Bella Abzug, and she was saying, we need people in Congress who are not just lawyers. We need doctors. We need nurses. We need teachers. We need podiatrists. And I said, well, I said, let me write to her because I'm interested in being in Congress one day. So I wrote to her. I said, well, I'm going to be a psychologist. I was a sophomore in college at the time. I said, I'm going to be a psychologist. How would that work to be a psychologist in Congress? And then I got a note back from Margot, her, I guess, administrative assistant.
Administrative assistant. And now it's called chief of staff.
Right.
It's a fancier title, but
Yes.
It's the same job.
Yes. And Margot said, well, how would you like to be an intern in our office? And I thought, wow, that's great. So I applied for that, and that's how I got there.
It was a wonderful summer. I remember, we had very little office space, but we somewhere, even some in the hall,
Right.
found space for all the interns, and it was what a great crew. I think they were all women.
All women.
And they were terrific. They were just full of beans and eager, and people like you, and they did fabulous work for us.
Oh, it was so fascinating to be in the halls of Congress at that point. And then because I was a student at Princeton at the time, so there was a Princeton and Washington program. So we had all these seminars. We had a seminar with Ron Ziegler, White House press secretary in the White House. We had a session with Al Haig. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be Henry Kissinger at the time, but he was in Camp David, so Al Haig came in. And so I have this great story when I went in. So I was early for that session, and I came in, and Haig wasn't there yet, but his various attachés were there, and they said, oh, here, come, sit down. We have this comfortable chair in front. Come sit here. And so I did make myself comfortable. Then everybody else came in, and Al Haig came in. He started talking about the Vietnam War. And I raised my hand, and I said, well, why are we dropping napalm on the people? And he said, kind of, and he didn't answer me. And I raised my hand again, and I said, why are we seeding the clouds with chemicals? And he goes, and he starts talking to his people, and he says, get her out of here.
Is that right?
Yeah. But I ended up staying. But that was, I went to work for Bella because I loved her politics, and and of course, being there, we felt very empowered to ask tough questions and to make change.
Yeah, about once a week, I think. I'm so sorry that Bella isn't with us today, banging heads, because certainly the last administration needed more of it even than it got.
Yes.
And whoever thought we'd miss Richard Nixon?
Yeah. Isn't that something? Because, of course, the summer of 72 was the summer that Watergate
Right.
was discovered.
That's right.
And I remember walking by the Watergate Hotel to get to the Capitol, and I was thinking, wow, what was going on in those hallways?
Yeah, it was quite a summer.
Yeah. And I also had, when I was that summer, I had an interview with Cy Hirsch about the seeding of the clouds. So he sat down with me for maybe an hour and talked to me. And that's when I wrote the legislation for Bella for seeding of the clouds.
He's still kicking around.
He is.
He must be about 85
Yes.
if he's a day.
Yeah.
But he's still around. I don't know him, but I see him occasionally here and there.
Yeah.
And
But
I think he may still be writing, too.
Yes, he's still writing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did some, incredible investigative work in those years, particularly.
Yes. And I think he did some work with Bella on one thing or another.
Yes.
I don't remember what, but
Yes, I'm
maybe
sure.
the cloud seeding that you worked on.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were exciting but troubling days.
Yes.
In many ways, and it was great that you were part of it.
Yeah, it was. It really opened my eyes to what we could do. I think legislatively,